Imagine a battlefield in World War II where American and German soldiers fought side by side. Sounds impossible, right? But in May 1945, in the final days of the war in Europe, it actually happened. Inside a small castle in the Austrian Alps, an unlikely group formed American soldiers, German military personnel who had rebelled against Hitler, and high-ranking French prisoners, all united against a common enemy, a fanatical SS force that wanted to retake the castle at any cost. This is the story of the Battle of Itter Castle, considered by many historians to be one of the strangest battles of the entire Second World. Itter Castle sits on a hill in Austria, near the small village of Itter, after the annexation of Austria by Nazi Germany in 19. The castle was eventually confiscated by Hitler's regime and transformed, years later, into a special prison linked to the Dachau concentration camp. But this was no ordinary prison. Extremely important French prisoners were held there, former prime ministers, generals, and political figures, whom the Nazis considered too valuable to keep in ordinary concentration camps. While these prisoners lived under constant surveillance, workers from Eastern Europe were forced to perform maintenance tasks inside the castle. Everything seemed stable until May 1945. Nazi Germany was on the verge of defeat. The regime was collapsing. Military units were, but some SS groups still fought fanatically. On May 3, 1945, one of the castle workers decided to act. His name was Vladimir Kukuri, a member of the Yugoslav resistance, who had been placed there as a worker. Risking his own life, he fled the castle with a clear objective: to find American troops and ask for help. After a long journey through the Inn River Valley, he finally found soldiers from the 103rd Infantry Division of the United States. He told them everything: the prisoners, the danger, and the possibility of an SS attack. The Americans tried to organize a rescue mission immediately, but the operation ended up being canceled due to command and coordination problems between divisions. Meanwhile, inside the castle, the situation worsened. The prison commander had disappeared, the SS guards abandoned their positions, and the prisoners themselves took control of the castle. But they knew that this wouldn't last. At any moment as his troops could return, and that's exactly what happened. Another messenger was sent to get help Bakuk, who cycled until he found members of the Austrian resistance. That's how the message reached Major Joseph Gengel, a German Wehrmacht officer who had decided to disobey Nazi orders and protect Austrian civilians from the SS. Gengel knew he needed American help. Then, Lieutenant John Lee, commander of a small U.S. tank unit, entered the scene. When he heard the story, Lee made a bold decision. He would gather a small group of soldiers and immediately set off for the castle. The group that went to Itter was incredibly small. Just 14 American soldiers, some German soldiers who had turned against Nazism, and one Sherman tank. On the way, they encountered small SS forces trying to block the road, but they managed to advance. When they arrived at the castle, they were enthusiastically greeted by the French prisoners, who quickly realized that their rescuers were far fewer in number than they had expected. Even so, Lee organized the defenses. American soldiers, German rebels, and even the French prisoners themselves took up arms. Everyone knew an attack was coming. On the morning of May 5th, 1945, it finally happened. Between 100 and 150 SS soldiers surrounded the castle and opened fire. Machine guns, rifles, and anti-aircraft guns began to hit the walls. The Sherman tank at the main entrance provided support until it was destroyed by a powerful German 88mm cannon. Even so, the defenders continued to resist. During the fighting, Major Gengel was killed while trying to protect one of the French prisoners. But the resistance inside the castle continued. Ammunition was running out. The situation seemed desperate. Then, in an almost cinematic moment, one of the prisoners, the famous French tennis player Jean Baratra, volunteered to jump the castle wall and cross enemy lines to seek help. Incredibly, he succeeded. Hours later, American reinforcements finally arrived. Around 4 p.m., the SS soldiers were defeated. About 100 SS members were captured. The battle was over, and the castle was saved. The French prisoners were taken to safety and, a few days later, returned to France. All this happened just 3 days before the final surrender of Nazi Germany. The Battle of Itter Castle became known as the only battle of World War II in which American and German soldiers fought together against the SS, a true story that seems like something out of a movie. If you enjoy true stories from World War II and little-known historical events, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos. And if this content brought you something new today, leave your like. This greatly helps the channel to continue bringing more stories like this. See you in the next video.